At 6:15 p.m., the glass doors of Lauren Hayes' office opened, and Daniel Carter stepped inside. The Chicago skyline glowed behind the CEO's desk, but Daniel barely looked at it. He had spent 6 years working at Hayes Strategic Solutions, and he knew exactly what an invitation to the CEO's private office at the end of the day usually meant. Still, he straightened his shirt and walked forward calmly. "Sit down, Daniel." Lauren said. Daniel took the chair across from her. Lauren had a folder in front of her, but she didn't open it immediately. That hesitation told Daniel more than the folder itself. "You've been with us for 3 years, she finally said. "Your performance reviews are among the best in the company." Daniel nodded. "Thank you." Lauren looked uncomfortable then. "You know, this isn't personal." Daniel's expression barely changed. "It usually isn't when someone says that." For a second, Lauren almost smiled. Then the seriousness returned. "The board approved a major restructuring this afternoon. Several positions are being eliminated. Yours is one of them." The words landed heavily. But Daniel didn't argue. He simply looked down at his hands. He thought about his 8-year-old daughter, Emma, waiting at his sister's house. He had promised her he would be home before bedtime. He had also promised her that no matter what happened at work, he would never let her see him give up. "I understand," he said quietly. Lauren seemed surprised by his reaction. "You're not going to ask why? I already know why you do." "Because sometimes companies make decisions based on numbers, not people." Lauren looked away. Daniel stood. "May I collect my things?" She nodded back at his desk. Several co-workers avoided looking directly at him. Daniel smiled at them anyway. He packed his worn notebook, a framed photograph of Emma, and the small paper drawing she had made for him at school. Then he noticed the envelope. It had been sitting beneath his notebook for weeks. He had prepared it long ago, never knowing whether he would actually need it. He wrote one sentence across the front. "Lauren Hayes, please read before making your next decision." Daniel placed the envelope carefully on his desk. He took one last look around the office. He had given everything to the company, often staying late after everyone else left. Yet he felt no anger. He picked up his daughter's photograph, slipped it into his jacket, and walked toward the elevator. Behind him, his desk remained exactly as he had left it, except for the envelope, and Lauren had no idea that opening it would make her question the biggest decision of her career. Lauren noticed the envelope only after Daniel had disappeared into the elevator. At first, she intended to leave it there. She had already made the decision, and she didn't want curiosity interfering with business. But the name on the front kept pulling her attention back. Finally, she picked it up. Inside was a handwritten letter and a thick document. Lauren began reading. The first page contained financial projections. The second showed a new operational system. By the third page, Lauren stopped breathing for a moment. The numbers were extraordinary. Daniel had designed a software platform capable of identifying waste, predicting supply problems, and reducing unnecessary operational costs. The projected savings were enormous, tens of millions of dollars every year. Lauren turned another page. There were months of research, testing results, charts, and implementation plans. Then she saw Daniel's name, not as the owner, not as the executive. At the bottom of every document he had written, "Prepared for Hayes Strategic Solutions." Lauren stared at the words. He had developed the entire system, while working in a position that had nothing to do with executive strategy. He could have sold the technology, taken it to a competitor, or demanded a promotion. He had done none of those things. Lauren reached the final page. There was only a short note. "I built this because I believed this company could become something better. I never needed anyone to know my name. I only wanted to leave something useful behind." Lauren lowered the paper for the first time that evening. Regret hit her. She grabbed her phone and called Daniel. No answer. She called again. Still nothing. Meanwhile, Daniel was walking through the parking garage toward his old pickup truck. His phone vibrated, but he ignored it. He had promised himself that tonight would be about Emma, not work. Lauren rushed out of her office and took the elevator downstairs. When she reached the lobby, she saw him near the entrance. "Daniel," he stopped. Lauren hurried toward him. "Holding the document you created this?" Daniel looked at the papers inside. "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because nobody asked." Lauren had no response. She looked at him differently now. Not as an employee she had just fired, but as the person who might have saved the company from problems she hadn't even realized existed. "I made a mistake," she said. Daniel shook his head. "You made a business decision. No, Lauren replied. I made a decision without knowing the person standing in front of me. She took a breath, Daniel. I want you back. He looked toward the parking lot. Then Lauren added, not in your old position. I want you to lead the division, responsible for implementing this system. Daniel was silent finally. He smiled. I need to think about it. Lauren nodded for the first time that evening. She understood that sometimes the person you overlook is the person your company needs most.